I remember about 3 or 4 years ago when I worked full time as an in person coach, I was talking to this one prospect about training, and we were in the gym, and her whole goal was weight loss and fat loss. She weighed about 284 pounds, I want to say, at the time. And she clearly was aware that this was an unhealthy body weight. She had a certain amount of awareness around that. However, when we got to the part where we talked about her nutrition, she said, all I eat are apples and salads. And that's all I'll eat every single day. And I asked, I was like, oh, okay, well, like, how often are you eating? How many apples, how many salads are you eating? Oh, no, I only eat once a day. I'll have one apple and one salad. Okay, cool. So, what do you put in the salad? Well, nope, I just do like a light vinaigrette and yeah, just like vegetables and that's it. And so I started thinking, you know, at 284 pounds, you don't just get there by eating apples and salad. In fact, you have to eat a pretty ridiculous amount of apples and salad to get to 284 pounds. And so I realized, I think that's when it actually clicked with me that not everyone is even honest with themselves with how much they are eating. And I noticed that with my own clients right now, my fitness clients, the more data we track, the more that we're able to actually see what you have going on, the easier it is to actually see results. There's a few reasons for this. One, that lady was clearly not honest with herself. She was aware that she was overweight. Cool, that's step one. That's a phenomenal first step. But she was in complete denial of what she was eating and how much she was eating. Now, was it because I'm a trainer? She wanted to impress me? I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning was behind that. But she seemed so convinced that her one apple and one salad a day was the reason she was overweight. And she couldn't figure out what was wrong with her nutrition for it. And after about 10 minutes of going back and forth, I sort of realized like, oh, this might, like, she might literally just not be there mentally. Or is in such complete denial that like she doesn't want to admit it. She wants the help, but doesn't want to admit it, that sort of thing. And so what I notice, especially with my clients, is a couple of different things. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Now, what exactly do I mean by this? Well, for my clients, what we'll track is a variety of metrics. And as long as we have the data on those metrics, we can see exactly where the weak point is and what we might need to adjust. Now, there's a few different things I like to do with them where we'll track their food, specifically their calories and their macronutrients, which are protein, carbs, and fats. And then we'll also track their step count. For some of them, we'll track the amount of sleep that they're getting per night or ballparking that. And then we're tracking their workouts. Which exercises are they doing? How many sets? How many reps? What's the rest time looking like? And then we'll go from there. How frequently are they working out? Are they getting any walking in aside from that? Are they cycling? Are they playing pickleball or pickup basketball or soccer? And by seeing all of this data, it gives me a much easier time, a much better idea of where they are at physically, which oftentimes aligns with where they're at mentally too. So then I can plug and play and help adjust for them in order for them to actually lean out, lose fat, build muscle in the process. And then develop good habits on top of that too, where it's not just the idea of like, hey, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds. It's like, no, I want to lose 10 pounds and keep the 10 pounds off. But you can't do that unless you have the right habits in place and especially the right system in place. And that's one thing we'll do with my clients is I want to make sure that we have a system in place for them to actually maintain what they have and continue to see progress down the road. And by avoiding the data, by not tracking your food, by not tracking your workouts, you technically can't complain if you're not progressing because you don't have any metrics on where you are even at. It is very hard to hit a target that you can't see. You might say, yeah, I want to lose 50 pounds. But if we don't know where you're at right now, you don't want to step on the scale or you don't want to measure your waist or have any sort of numerical data to it, to even taking progress photos, it's going to be very, very tough to see you actually losing that weight or how far you're progressing. And by the time, the people who are typically not a huge fan of doing that, like if we can't even track your calories and use a food scale, the people who aren't a huge fan of that are going to burn out and get frustrated way faster than they'll actually see the results. And when it comes to paying attention to what you're doing, when it comes to building a system around this, the goal is to essentially plug and play fitness into everyone's life so that they can do this forever. Something that's truly sustainable for a long period of time. I don't do any fad diets with my clients. We don't do keto. We don't do carnivore. We don't do any of those crazy diets. In fact, we follow the set of parameters that are essentially like, hey, the calorie control is going to make you either gain or lose weight. The macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats, are going to more so determine your body composition, the you are what you eat sort of idea. And then the micronutrients are going to determine more so how you're feeling with everything. But at the base of that pyramid, if you are not adhering to everything and you're not adhering to the plan, none of it matters. So when it comes to building a system, you have to make a system that you can adhere to. Meaning, let's say you're a 45-year-old man and you work 5 days a week. We'll just go with a typical 9 to 5. Are you a morning person to where you can wake up early in the morning? Or are you a nighttime person to where you feel the need to, like, you have most of your energy at night after work? This is going to vary person to person. For some of my clients, one of my guys specifically, he kind of fits in this category. What he'll do is certain days he'll hit a workout earlier in the morning before work because that's when he feels the most awake. It kind of sets him up for his day. And then he'll go home. He'll go home from work. He'll prep his food, he'll eat dinner, he'll shower, and he'll start to wind down mentally so he can get a good night's rest and do it again the next day. For some people out there, it might be more so the idea that they're going, they're sleeping in, their alarm, they set 5 alarms that wakes them up, and now they're finally ready to get up and get going for work. And then they hit the gym after work, they come home, they have dinner, and maybe they stay up later. And then that allows them to sleep in a little bit in the next morning. So when it comes to different routes of going about it, you have to figure out how many days a week you're working out, what your calories are, what foods fit in those calories. There's going to be better bang for buck. Like sweet potatoes, you can have a whole plate of sweet potatoes without having nearly as many calories. Whereas if you have like one Twinkie, that might be like a few hundred calories in it just from that alone. So you want to not just systematize what you're doing during the day, but how you're doing it during the day. And sometimes for some people, it's like, hey, just go to the gym 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, literally book it in your calendar at 3:30 p.m. And then that way, every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going at 3:30 p.m. That's when I'm hitting my workout. And then for calories, you're more so either aiming for daily goals, like, okay, I have to make sure I stay under 2,200 calories today, or a weekly goal where you might have to say, okay, I need to stay under 18,000 calories throughout this week, as long as it averages out to beneath that. And that's part of the system side of things, where the more data you have, the easier it's going to be to track. One of my newer clients, he has a full-on spreadsheet of his body weight, what he's eating, his workouts, form videos included. Like, he has all this data based off of the stuff that he has going on. And that makes it so much easier because when you have all that data listed out, we can literally nitpick. Oh, you're struggling here. Oh, we missed your calories here. I see your step count is super low 4 days a week. We might just need to get your steps up. Or, hey, all your numbers are looking good. It's just your sleep that's really lacking right now and your water intake that's really lacking. So we're going to have to fix those in order to continue to see progress and continue to see results. But even for the things that you can't necessarily numerically track all the time, like energy and stress, things like that, that's where the personable side of things comes in, to where it's like, hey, let's evaluate all of your data, and then let me actually talk to you as a person to understand exactly where you're at, how you're feeling, and what's going on. Because just because we have super low calories and you're seeing a lot of weight loss and fat loss, like, that doesn't mean you're going to feel very good doing it. Like I said, we want to do something that's sustainable over time. So if we're crushing it in this category, but you hate it and you feel like crap and you don't see the same progress the same way, we might have to dial things back. And that's essentially the leadership part, where it's like, hey, I need my coach to help me make a judgment call on this right now. You need all the data to actually track things, but there are things that are harder to measure, especially with my clients with the progress photos. Some of them will be like, I literally don't see a difference in these photos. I'm like, hey, look at your jawline. Do you see how it's a little bit sharper in this one? Do you see how your chest isn't hanging as much? We have a little bit more firmness here. Do you see how your vascularity is starting to improve in your arms. You see, that's a new vein. And that's all things that you don't necessarily numerically measure all the time. It is more so a visual, and it is more so just having a set of professional eyes being able to look at that and tell you what exactly is going on, for better or for worse. But with all the numbers, like, that just gives us an exact goal to hit, and we don't have to make all these guesses. And then we know whether you are moving forward and progressing or falling behind, and we need to make some sort of adjustment. It's not that you need every single metric tracked in order to actually see the results. It is just more so it makes it simple for you. You want to take the guesswork out of it. You want to take the thinking out of it. And that's exactly what my clients do by hiring me, is just by saying, hey, here's my data. I help them get organized with all their data. I teach them exactly what each piece of data means to them. And then I plug and play for them based on their lifestyle and what they have going on, and then what their goals are too. If one of my people is like, hey, I just need you something sustainable. I just need you to stay on me and just have me continuously going. Here's a specific set of goals. I don't need to achieve them anytime soon. That plan is going to look very different than someone who is like, hey, coach, I just need to get there as fast as possible. I want to get lean. I'm like ready in time for summer. I even want to be lean in the winter, whatever. Get me there as soon as possible. Those two plans are going to look very different, because this person is going to have a slower, more sustainable approach to it. Whereas this person, we're going to need a lot more data and a lot more frequently as well. Like, hey, instead of progress photos once a month, we might have to go twice a month. Or instead of, doing 8,000 steps at a minimum, you might need to do 12,000 steps at a minimum per day or whatever. And it's going to vary person to person, especially depending on the starting point. But it is so much easier to actually make a change when you realize where your numbers are and how those all line up. In business, they call it like tracking your scorecard, essentially. Like, hey, if we go down each funnel, what's the percentage of each thing that's going on? And in sales specifically, it's like, okay, how many people booked a call? How many people showed up to the call? How many people did you close on the call? And then it just keeps going down from there. And wherever your worst percentage at, wherever your worst rate is at, is how you know where to adjust next. So if you have your workouts in place, you're getting a lot of steps, but you're eating like 5,000 calories every single day, yeah, we probably need to adjust the calories first. But that way you at least know what to adjust, and you're not banging your head against the wall trying to figure this out, because you're just throwing stuff and trying to see if anything hits the target. So with my clients, all the ones that see extreme success in their physiques and their bodies are the ones that measure the most data. And that allows us to then go in and see what we can fix, essentially. So when you get people who are 284 pounds and they think they're only eating salad and apples once a day, and you start to realize, like, oh no, they're snacking on a bag of chips here, and they're eating cereal here, and they're doing this, and they're doing that, and they're having pasta at midnight, it's like, okay, now we can actually see, because you tracked it, you logged it. A lot of the times with my clients too, they don't even realize what they're doing until we actually have it on paper. And then that way too, I can say, look, I'm not the bad guy here, but the numbers say this. And that's another thing too, is like, hey, I'm just bringing awareness to your numbers and your data. It is not my goal to just bash you or bring you down or whatever. It's more so like, hey, we are trying to get to this goal. It is my job to help you cross that finish line. In this case, look at the data, tell me what you think first, and then I will tell you what I think afterward. And I've noticed that's a very, very good system to get so many clients, so many great results. So if you feel like you need this system in place, you need the data, you don't know what to track, you don't know how to track, and you want someone to help optimize that for you, to plug and play into your lifestyle, there's a one-on-one coaching application in the description down below. Feel free to fill that out. Let me know what you're struggling with. Let me know where I can help you out, and then I'll reach out to you. I'll see what I can do for you. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.